dauntless soul that has no helper. Oh, maybe I'm just alone. I trust my gut, but I've never let it go so far now. I wanna know what you thought you had done when you allow me to be all the things that I'm not. Well, it seems like I'm caught every time you remind me. You're right to take away my pride, to burn it to the ground so we can start again. My crime's a legend to remind, to burn it to the ground so we can start again. So burn it to the ground. I lost the course, the fight to change my life. There seems no time for respite. Maybe you should just go. I changed my ways, but I never thought I'd find no time to hide in my mind. In the hope you would stay when you allow me to be all the things that I'm not. Well, it seems that I'm caught every time you remind me. You're right to take away my pride, to burn it to the ground so we can start again. My crime's a lesson to remind, to burn it to the ground so we can start again.
Hello everybody, we are back for another episode of Prepping the Birds. What a game. I mean, I don't know about you, I've got Thomas sat here with me to break down all of this, but to everyone in the chat, has this not felt like the longest day of 2019? Like, it's just constantly clock watching, just sat twiddling your thumbs. There's a lot of nerves around this game, at least on my end, but Thomas is fully confident. He thinks the Birds are going to win. So,
No nerves whatsoever.
no, alright, okay, so we've got plenty to get into about today's game. Thank you so much to everyone for coming into this broadcast. It's absolutely amazing. Big shout out to everyone who's overseas, like me in England. I know John's in the chat, there'll be a few others as well. So let us know where you're watching from. Thomas is in Europe, he's in Denmark watching this. We are worldwide tonight, we would love to know where you're watching from. But let's get into the game. Obviously, the big question on everyone's lips, Thomas, well, at least on my lips to begin with, is what is making you so confident about this game when there are so many reasons to be doubtful?
There's every reason to be doubtful. It's in Green Bay. It's a short week. Coming off 2 close losses, still missing Deshaun Jackson. I just feel I've been watching Carson Wentz play so well for in the week 1, week 3. Atlanta was a little bit of a weird half. We all know that, the first half there. I feel like Carson Wentz has gotten those 3 games under his belt. He's confident now. His pocket presence has improved so much. He looks comfortable playing, and everything rides on him. And I think this is the game where Alshon comes back, Dallas comes back. People will actually catch the ball, not fumble the ball, and I think Eagles are going to come out victorious. I really do, man. I think the defense is going to play a lot better than we expect, and we get this dub.
Absolutely.
I feel it.
I can tell. You know, I hope they do, because if we have another week of Thomas like gut wrenching like on a Monday, there's nothing worse. But let's just have a look. We've got South Carolina, we've got Virginia, we've got CA, Connecticut. There's a lot of people all around America watching this, so big shout out to you guys. Joe Hudson is in England with me, not with me here right now. But let's just see what...
Cool, that would have been nice.
That would have been cool. Alex Hayden straight away says Mike Grove needs to go, and I'm sure that's going to sound... Kiri's in. Kiri's been a little away for a little while, so Kiri's back in. But let's get on to Mike Grove, because this is a topic that somehow hasn't been addressed yet. And I mean, we've spoken about it briefly before, where I think last year we got a bit of a pass, and now he's sort of... The same flaws are coming over, and there are no excuses this year. Like last year, you had the whole, well, it was Foles' offense. It got, tinkered around a bit, and then Wentz missed the whole offseason, and chemistry, and X, Y, and Z. Now you've got an explosive offense. You've got all the running backs you could ask for. You've got an elite tight end. You've got a great receiving group. Franchise quarterback looking great. Still can't score in the first quarter. Still have all these deficiencies. Is it time we start looking at Mike Grove and just hold him accountable, or is it still a bit premature?
We talked about it last week after the game against the Lions, right?
Yeah.
we thought a new pair of eyes looking on the Eagles' offense, kind of bringing like a fresh mindset in here could help a lot. Like cutting Mike Groh out of the picture, but I don't know a lot about Mike Groh. I mean, to be honest, this whole assistant coach thing, I don't know who makes the calls. I don't know who rotates everything in. All I know is that Eagles are adjusting very well on the fly. I give all the credit to Doug Peterson for that because I think he sees a lot more. But it would be cool if someone would actually come in and help Doug from time to time because I feel like there's a lot on his plate.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that Doug Peterson is a mastermind in translating strength of quarterbacks onto the field. We saw it with Nick Foles, the way he implemented the QB read for like the option to pass. Like it even had the NFL going crazy, and they were saying run pass option for about every second play that we from when Nick Foles took over. And we know Doug can do it. Give Doug some help. I don't know if it's Mike Groh. I trust the organization to find out that. Yeah.
We've been invaded here on this stream. Brian Cameron and his elite beard game has stormed into the Skype call to come in and give us some takes. So, I just feel bad because I can't grow facial hair. I'm totally left out of this discussion. But the one discussion that we can all be a part of is the Eagles. I'm a little bit hesitant. There's reasons why. Thomas is all in on the Eagles tonight. Brian, how are you feeling about this game?
Well, as far as my beard goes, I can't stand how much it grows and how fast it grows. Where it's annoying me, and I would donate some hair to you if you need it.
No, I'll need plenty, yeah.
That's not okay to say. You can't just say you don't like the way it grows, man. So many people struggling to grow a beard. Liam.
I'll trim it down to probably Liam's length, and it'll just grow within a week.
Yeah, I totally relate. Yeah. I get it all the time.
As for tonight, I'm feeling as good as Thomas is feeling.
Let's go.
I'm feeling so bold that Thomas is going to hate when I say this. I started Miles Sanders in my other fantasy league.
Let's go.
I'm feeling that bold tonight. I think, like I said on the podcast, Flipping the Birds this week, it reminds me of when Denver came to the link, how everybody was kind of saying, the Eagles haven't faced a real team yet. They couldn't take on a real team. I feel like right now, the Eagles are in a position where they love being counted out. They love being underdogs, and they have the clear-cut advantage right now.
Yeah.
You say that, but I don't know if underdog still applies because
it has to apply.
But what is making this team? This is what I don't get, because an underdog is someone that shouldn't be in the situation they are. The only reason they are in the situation they are is because they've shot themselves in the foot. It's like having The Rock jump off a bridge, end up on crutches, and then go into WrestleMania as an underdog. It's still The Rock. That's his own fault. He's not an underdog. He's just an idiot. That's the.
Like this though, Carson Wentz is in a position where he shouldn't be. Think about it.
Okay, yeah. I would love to see an enraged Carson Wentz tonight. I think that is something I would honestly kill to see. Really quick, another note as well. I know I've got a lot of you in the chat now. You may notice in the top left-hand corner there is a notice that says if you guess the correct score, you'll win a t-shirt. So put a comment in the chat and then tweet one of us should that score happen so we know, and we'll get you out a free PSN t-shirt. Because we're kind, and it's the end of the month, which means payday for everyone, so we've got to treat you guys as well. Let's talk about the running backs then, because we've spoken about Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson. Brian's gone bold and starting Miles Sanders. Could we not just see the old switcheroo and finally see some Jordan Howard? Is that a possibility tonight?
No, and I'm going to tell you why. So I was listening to a lot of radio talk shows this morning, and the whole, I feel like what the Eagles are really doing with Miles Sanders is the boldest thing that they can do, and it's the best thing that they can do as well. Because Sanders is exactly what this offense needs. Mm-hmm. I get, Jordan Howard is built for the trenches. He can really, get the in-between tackles, but with Sanders struggling right now, he's doing pretty decent for a running back in his position.
Okay, Thomas.
I see in Thomas's beard. He's gonna agree with me.
All right, Thomas. Thoughts on Miles Sanders? Because we both broke down the tape.
With the beard, what is that?
It's a magical telekinesis.
Is this just something you're just low key behind my back saying, "Oh, Liam's such an idiot for not jumping on Miles Sanders"?
Oh my goodness! If we're gonna have beard telekinesis, that'll be the new thing.
But yeah, what are your thoughts, Thomas, on Miles Sanders? Would you be comfortable if he receives 15 carries tonight? If before seeing how it pans out, if I come to you and say, right, Thomas, here's the game plan tonight. Miles Sanders gets around 15 to 18 carries. Jordan Howard gets about 6. Darren Sproles is out there and gets 3 and a pass or something. Are you okay with that? Or are you like, whoa, hold on a minute, let's just rewind?
So I'm a little bit split because I saw 2 different things in the game film this week from both Jordan Howard and from Miles Sanders. With on one hand, I saw Miles take advantage of the matchups with the linebackers down the field when he got those 2 big passes, and on every single run, I felt like he was finally choosing the right gap. There was only 1 or 2 plays where I was going, that was an odd choice. On all the other plays, he found the gap and he exploded through it at most times. Then you got the fumbling issues, and that's a big issue for me. Because now, in 2 straight weeks, in the Atlanta game and in the Redskins game, you had to bubble the ball at the snap. That was a dead play.
Yeah.
Now, you got 2 fumbles in week 3. What are we supposed to see here in week 4?
Against this defense, where they're going to start keying in on it after a while. Like, if you see something consistently, you're going to start attacking it and being a bit more, I guess, impactful with your tackles as well, surely.
Sure. But then with Jordan Howard, what I saw was strength and finish and plowing through extra yards and having good ball control. But I also saw him make terrible decisions in choosing the gaps, the wide open gaps in front of him. He could have had 2 runs for 25 yards plus had he chosen the right gap. And that frustrated me more than I would actually think when I watched it, because it was wide open. And the narrative that the Eagles' offensive line are not blocking well in the run scheme is terrible. They're blocking perfectly. There are holes all over the field. So I just need to find one guy. I don't care if it's Miles Sanders or if it's Jordan Howard at this point. Hell, it could be Corey Clement. Whoever can find that spot, run through it with serious power, is the guy I want in this game. And if I get that you want Miles Sanders in here because he's clearly the more dynamic back. But if he fumbles the ball, if he makes one mistake in this game, he's out.
Yeah,
Can I just say as well, a massive observation by that Eagles guy. He says Malcolm Jenkins is in the video chat.
Well, that is true. That's big. What a scoop idea there.
Well, I mean, dude, if that's your celebrity lookalike, you've done very, very well in life. Do you know what I mean?
I'm very flattered right now. I'm not gonna lie. Can we screenshot that and like send it to me?
Yeah, I'll get it to you, man.
How about it?
Oh, that's so good. That's made my night. But yeah, I mean, so when I went back, obviously for those of you who've been around the channel, you may have seen that I made a video on the running backs this week. But the one thing that I honestly feel like with Miles Sanders is that the Eagles have a committee approach, and they've got everything where they want to be a committee, right? It's like you've got all the right running backs, so you've got Jordan Howard, who's a bit more of like a downhill runner. You're going to have someone like Miles Sanders, a bit more dynamic. Sproles is a dual threat guy. Clement can kind of do it all. You've got all those pieces, but they're trying to make Miles Sanders do all of them at once instantly, which may be the plan in like a year, 2 years' time to have him be this Philip Lindsay type running back. But as of right now, he's not there yet because he does have ball security issues and he does have vision issues and patience setbacks where you only get that through experience, and you can't just expect it to happen overnight against this caliber of defense. And it's at that same time we were talking about, Thomas, where you're only going to get used to that in a rhythm. And with someone like Jordan Howard, who has been so dominant during his time in Chicago, especially, I mean, everyone's saying like, you know, running out of the shotgun. I mean, Miles Sanders was purely out of the shotgun and like zone. Jordan Howard was, I think, both runs under center last week with Jordan Howard. But in Chicago last year, he ran for 4.4 yards per carry out of the shotgun. So he can do it. And it's like, if you get him into a rhythm, he's what you need now. Sanders is what you need later. And that's okay. But it's like, there's something in this organization where they want the future now. They want Miles Sanders now. They want Arcega-Whiteside now. And it's just not there yet. It needs that bit of development. And you've got the assets to let it happen. You don't have to put out Arcega-Whiteside like they're doing at wide receiver. But you can let Miles Sanders develop. But it feels like they're just pushing it too soon. But am I wrong in that?
Nah, I don't think you're wrong in it. Like, you also want to see what Miles Sanders is. Like, it's kind of tough. I think what we saw going back to the running out of the shotgun formation with Jordan Howard, it's not wrong to run out of the shotgun. It's wrong to run slow developing run plays out of the shotgun with Jordan Howard because you want him to build up. You want him to build up power in his run early. So all of these run plays where Carson Wentz takes it, looks for a bit, hands it off, sort of like draw, but not really. Like it's an outside zone, but it's kind of handed off like a draw.
Yeah.
that's terrible because it takes 1 second, 1.5 seconds before he actually gives the ball to Jordan Howard. Then he needs to build up the speed. And if the gap is not clearly there, then he's going to hesitate already, and then that's going to result in short yardage, obviously. Whereas a guy like Miles Sanders, he can take the ball and he can nibble around a little bit. Like he's more shifty to make the first guy miss, like without having built up any speed in his game yet. So I think if you're Doug, you don't have to run the ball if you have Jordan Howard in there. You don't have to pass the ball if you have Jordan Howard. Like you don't have to be one-dimensional, but the way you call your running plays has to be changed from back to back.
Right. Exactly. What about you, Brian? What are your views on this whole running back by committee, by failure, by whatever the hell is going on there at the minute?
So I agree 1,000% with everything Thomas just said. And I was just funny because as you were saying, like, you know, the whole Jordan Howard on the center, Miles at shotgun. I personally think that both running backs are effective the opposite way. Like preseason wise, we saw Miles out of under center. Even in the open practice, we saw Miles out of under center, and he was a lot more effective that way. Jordan Howard, they've been running him at shotgun, and he's actually been, you know, getting like short of the minimum amount of yards, but he's been pushing through the line very effectively. But I personally think with Corey from coming tonight, I think he's going to be I don't say X factor because that's too much of a statement, but he's going to be that in between running back that they need right now between Miles and Jordan. I think having him in that group to be the change of pace back that apparently we all thought Miles Sanders would be, but it isn't. It's going to pay a big dividends tonight, especially against the rest of the Packers.
Absolutely. Okay, so another aspect that we've got to touch on then is how important is this game? Because a lot of people, like, if you say this is a must-win game, half the crowd are like, yeah, must-win, totally agree. Half of them are like, dude, chill, man, it's week 4, you got to hold 3 quarters, you know, and it's very like, it doesn't matter, it's week 4. But, the way I look at this, and you all know because I've said it a million times by now, is you're on a short week off a loss in a game you should have won on the road against a 3-0 team in Lambeau Field, which is a fair home field advantage. And then after that, you're going to face the combination of Minnesota, Dallas, Chicago, the New York Jets, and the Buffalo Bills over the next 5 weeks. That is tough sledding if they can't get going. Is this a must-win? Because if they don't, and they're demoralised going into the New York Jets, that then becomes an instant trap game, surely.
What do you want, Brian first?
Oh, go on then, but go on.
So I'm with the yes, it's a must-win group, but I think it's more of a must-win, not for so much the record. I think it's a must-win for the culture of the team, for the morale of the team. You don't want this team back into how they were feeling last year when Carson went down again. They were struggling. You don't want that to, like, you can feel the energy of this team. The energy of this team right now it's in a weird funk. It's not how 2017 was, where everything was just high octane. It's a little down and it's a little too quiet for my taste. But it's a must-win just for the fact that I feel like tonight has to be a wake-up call for Carson Wentz, for the wide receivers, for even Doug Peterson. I feel like Peterson has to call literally like the game of the season right now because you're facing a secondary that's super greedy when it comes to takeaways. I think they're leading the league in takeaways if I'm not mistaken.
And Jair Alexander's on 7 pass breakups by himself through 3 games, which is unreal. So he's like, you know, on some godlike level right now. And it's, I totally agree. What about you, Thomas? What are you feeling?
So is it a must-win game? No, because like you said, it's week 4. And any team can catch a rhythm and catch a streak at any time in an NFL season. We've seen that so many times. But I agree with Brian that it has to be. It's not a must win. It's a super important game for the rhythm of, like, it's so different going into New York Jets game, getting Deshaun Jackson back, long week ahead of you. You're at 500 early in the season. You're getting healthy. You're getting all your guys back. You got confidence in your quarterback. You come off a big win in Green Bay. Carson, if Carson can get this win tonight and play well, he really solidifies, this is my damn team, and I'm going to lead them no matter the adversity that's going to go against us. And then they can catch the rhythm, because if they beat the Packers, they get healthy, they beat the Jets. Then this tough role of teams they're going to go against, you have momentum going into those.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's going to be a much easier streak.
Of course.
If they lose tonight, and and it's in and they're close. If they're in it, if they play really, really well, and it comes down to a bullshit call, like if it comes down to a field goal at the end, if it comes down to Aaron Rodgers doing Aaron Rodgers things, pulling out some miracle out of his hat, some Hail Mary or whatever, I don't care what it is, then you can feel good about it still, because then the team is going into a tough environment and the short week, everything we just talked about, and they still carry momentum. They still carry three close games, and then like you're 1-3. Okay, Dallas may be 4-0 when they play the Saints. Then you maybe got to switch course in terms of thinking, okay, wild card, but you got Dallas twice. I mean, they're up by 3 games, but you play them twice.
Yeah.
If you want to be in the playoffs, you got to beat the best teams anyway. Dallas would be the best team in the division at that point. You got to beat them. So at some point, it's also like if they're actually serious about going into the playoffs this year, they got to beat the good teams.
Yeah.
It starts today.
Absolutely. A big shout. Let's just go through the chat and see we've got on a roll call then. Nova's just tuned in. We've got Cameo, Cummings, Faith, Cagnol's Guardians of Gold, who's pitched a Jalen Ramsey argument, which I'm sure we're going to get to in due course. Mark Robinson says, look at the QB lineup. I'm not quite scared of Kirk, Mitch, Sam, and whoever's throwing the pill in Buffalo. Fair. I would say look at the be scared of the Bears defense for a team that can't score quickly. Be scared of the Bills offense for a team that can't score quickly. Be scared of the Jets defense, I should say, for a team that can't score quickly. And the Vikings defense, who are going to be out for revenge as Atlanta were. It's going to be a close game either way. TX Boy says, why do we need Ramsey? I think that'll be the next question we discuss. Blue Hunnets, Duck and Win. I know we've got a lot of familiar faces in here right now. If you're not subscribed yet though, guys, you want to join this community, just hit that big red button. We host these streams every single week. We've got film breakdowns. We've got daily uploads for almost another month now. We're flying out content as much as we can. We would love for you to join this community with us. So let's do the effort in the room. Let's talk Jalen Ramsey, because that seems to be the pressing argument wherever we go. Because we, I think, know in our hearts what we individually want, right? Like, I'm of the opinion where it won't fix everything, but hell, I'll take it at this point, do you know what I mean? Has anything happened in the last week that has significantly tilted the scales one way or the other?
Brian, go ahead, because we discussed this on the post-game show, Liam and I.
What's the question again?
Just Jalen Ramsey. Anything happened in the last 7 days that has tilted your opinion one way or the other?
Would you let him close your child with the flu?
Listen, man, I would let him baptize my child with the flu at this point.
God's sake!
If it means he could help the secondary, look, I'm thinking about this way, right? You're bringing Jalen Ramsey at this point. And
I'm gone. I would let him baptise my child with the flu, is the quote of the century.
It's that much of a need right now, because it's like Jalen Ramsey's only 24 years old. You bring him in right now, he can help this season, but you got him for the next 4 or 5 years if you sign him to the extension. That's the way I'm looking at it. Like I would love to have Jalen on this team, knowing that Malcolm's on his way out within 1 or 2 years possibly.
Potentially, yeah. All right, Thomas.
You need that tough nose corner right now. We don't have that, unfortunately.
Oh, okay, right.
I'm just writing in this quote here in the chat. I need to keep this memory.
That was the most iconic thing I've ever heard Brian say. That was brilliant. All right, so Thomas, where do you stand on Jalen Ramsey? Put it this way: is he going to baptise your child with the flu? Yes or no?
He's not going to get near my children with the flu. My hypothetical children would not get his hypothetical flu, or be in the hypothetical situation in Philadelphia or in Denmark. I don't know what he'd be doing here, for at least. No, my stance on Jalen Ramsey hasn't changed this week. I'd still be happy to see him in Philadelphia. I'd still get if they don't bring him into Philadelphia. I still see there's a ton of assets you're bringing in for one guy. Of course, he's a great player, but you'll have a lot of holes in the team. I would say, all right, put it to you this way. If the Eagles win tonight, and there's a glaring need at cornerback still, say Russell Douglas plays incredibly, Sidney Jones out of his world. But if one of them is lacking a little bit, and you're going, we're this close. We just beat Green Bay away, short week, yada yada. Carson Wentz is Ginger Jesus. Everything's working out for us. Yes, then I'll pull the trigger, because then you're in full flight win now mode. And you're saying if we can't get pressure, we need to compensate. And this guy has got the flu. He's unhappy. Bring him in. It's a perfect situation. If they lose, I'll say screw it. I would not touch him. I would not give any. I would not go need first-round picks for him. Because then you're looking at a whole nother scenario. Then you're looking at a team that is not even good enough to beat the teams relative enough to stay in the mix to keep competing for the spot where you need to get in.
But what if he's a difference maker, though?
But this is the thing. I kind of agree with Thomas there. Like, at the end of the day, if you think NFC powerhouses for this season, like if you're talking championship caliber teams, and I know they're in the Eagles' next 5 games, but it is Chicago, it is Green Bay, it is going to be the Dallas Cowboys and the a couple other teams along with them. But if you can't get past Green Bay, or you can and there's a significant need, if there's nothing and it's the same, that there's no point. Because think of the Golden Tate trade, right? And I mean, any mid-season trade, and I was told this by Michael Lombardi, don't blow the chat, please, don't shout and be horrible. And I know he's, everyone seems to be against him in Philadelphia, but the thing is, the guy's been, Super Bowl winning GM, and he's kind enough to give me advice and insight on situations like this, where mid-season trades so often go wrong. Like the only successful one in recent memory I can think of is Amari Cooper. But you think if you come into a new team, forget anything on the field. As a man, you've got your family, you've got to relocate, you've got to get your kids in school. There's a lot of stress that comes with it. Then you've got to reacclimate with the team. You've got to settle in, learn a whole new playbook. And that's not as easy as looking at going, oh, okay, so when he says X, I run 5 steps and turn in. It's terminology that may even conflict with what you've learned before. It's tricky. It can take a few weeks. And if you do it now, especially on Jalen Ramsey, where this is a very much win now move, and it takes, let's say, 2 to 3 weeks to settle in, you've got half a season of Jalen Ramsey at his best in this defense. Is that going to be enough to come in and secure a bag? Like, I don't know. You're banking on 8 weeks to try and be the difference maker at that point. And I don't know if it will be enough, because I think this is, again, as you know, and I've said it to the people, I've said it to you, that it's a bit more schematic than it is player-based. And I mean, what I'm really interested to see now is I'm trying to bring in Chris into the call.
You know what's going to happen when you bring him in.
Oh, I know.
I need you guys to be prepared.
But the thing is, we said Jalen Ramsey, and he's like, I want in the cool, get me in the cool, get me in now, get me in the cool. But okay, I'll get to my next caller, but oh my god, he looks, he's like, okay, right, so we've now got a resident...
Is that Jalen Ramsey's doctor?
I'm on the side.
Alright, so we've got our resident Jalen Ramsey stan in the call. Chris Infante, co-host of Flipping the Birds, Philly Sports Network writer. Chris, I'll pitch the same question to you when you can hear. What do you think? Is there anything that's happened in the last 7 days that's tilted you one way or the other on Jalen Ramsey?
Can you wait a minute? Can I get set up?
No, you come flying in. I said, he just walked off. Okay, I'll finish my cornerback point then.
I was thinking he was just going to storm in here with everything.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Shit, man.
Yeah, and instead he's cool.
He is set up.
Okay.
Knows.
So he's
knows
just...
what's going on here. We can't badmouth Jalen Ramsey until he comes in, man. That's a shame.
Yeah, I mean, you should say the word Jalen. He's like, his ears perk up like a meerkat, and he's he's just like looking at the... Oh, okay. Now he's flexing on us with the Beats headphones. Like, oh, the anticipation is building here. So I think Eric should be in the chat as well. But guys, let us know in the comments as well. What do you think about Jalen Ramsey? Should the Eagles go out and do the thing? Does this game bear any weight on it? Let's say the Eagles win or lose. What would it take for you to be all in or all out on getting Jalen Ramsey? Let's just take a look through and see what you guys are saying while Chris readies himself for war. A lot of criticism on Ronald Darby, which it's really hard for me to have any kind of video where I don't say I told you so about Ronald Darby after being slated this offseason. But I'll do it again if I have to. We'll see, when he comes back. But Chris, are you there? Are you ready?
I am here.
Okay. We mentioned Jalen Ramsey. Your bat signal on top of your house was spinning and picked it up. You've come into the call. Has anything happened in the last week that would make you want to or not to go and get Jalen Ramsey?
Well, I mean, we were down on Darby before. Now we're even down on Darby even more because he's hurt. So
is that a bad thing?
I mean, it's not a bad thing because now we got the young core of Jones, Darby, and Douglas right now that played together in the playoffs. But get Jalen Ramsey. Do we really want a depth of just 3 cornerbacks? The fourth being Craig James.
Craig James season, baby.
Do not speak badly of Craig James. All right, he is a legend around these parts. This is Captain Craven the second. I have you know.
Like let's pump the brakes on Craig James season before we see 5 more games of Craven LeBlanc. And we don't want to put a hole in his ship yet.
True, very true.
My thing, I really like sprinted on here because people are saying Brian looks like Malcolm Jenkins, and I wanted to put a quick stomp on that.
Oh, why?
I had to.
That's sad for Brian, man. That was a high point of his life right there.
I had to come in here.
Wait, what happened? What are you doing?
He's saying that you don't know like Malcolm Jenkins.
Listen, Campbell.
See, I got look.
Listen here, buddy.
That better be a Camu jersey. That better be a Camu jersey. Is it Trotter? I'm guessing it's Trotter.
It's better.
Oh, go on.
There you go.
It's Infante.
Look at that. He's got a custom one. Okay. He's out here flexing. I mean, who are you rapping today, Thomas? We can see the number 17. I saw a Super Bowl badge. I don't know if everyone else has seen it yet.
Oh yeah, I'm repping the. It's Alshon Jeffrey coming back game. Got to rep that. I've been walking the Carson Wentz jersey for the past couple of weeks now. That didn't work. I also caught my girlfriend in the act of not wearing any Eagles gear for the last few games. So she's obviously in bed, but I made her sleep in the Zach Ertz jersey. So if that doesn't work, I don't know what will. Got all the superstition going here. It's gonna be a great game.
We have to sacrifice a human being.
See, I feel bad. I mean, yeah, let's just not bless anyone with flu. Let's just not get that far. But let's see.
I'm not going to wear this jersey during the game. I'm very superstitious. I need to wear my Fletcher Cox jersey.
See, I don't wear jerseys during games.
That's why we lose. Come on, man.
Sorry, yeah. I've only started the last 2 games, but but no, I don't know. I mean, I'm wearing, I've got the PSN shirt under this, but little Johnny Manziel comeback season hoodie because it's comeback season. We need the Eagles to come back. It's got to be done. Who are you wearing?
Did you see the alert about Jalen Ramsey?
I haven't worn it one game and they lost.
Jalen dropped the hammer on the podcast that he wants to be traded.
Oh no! What now?
While his baby was being born.
Maybe it was.
You're just there on the phone.
My wife is questioning my jersey choices because she said the Eagles have been losing, haven't they?
Oh.
So maybe I need to change my jersey.
But the Eagles are 1-0 when I've ordered pizza for the game, and I am ordering pizza for the game. So.
There you go.
There we are, we're off. But guys, let us know who you are wearing today. Let us see what jerseys have you got on. What's your game day or game night attire? Some of you in England, you might be in your PJs with your Simpsons slippers on. Other people might be fully kitted out. Or some of you might even have war paint. I need to see them all. But let's get back into something else then.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I always interrupt you, OJ. I'm so sorry, but it's for
okay.
Jalen Ramsey talk.
I think I just said what you guys said. Then you ignored me when I said it too.
Bleacher Report just reported that his trade request still stands.
You ignored me when I said it, didn't you?
On a podcast, he says, once respect is lost for both parties, I think it is time to part ways. So not only has he had the flu this week, not only has he had bad hamstrings, not only has he had thrown out his back, not only is his wife due this weekend and he's away in Nashville now, he's ready to move on.
Those are the most 4 common things that happen in your life, by the way. Flu, back problem, hamstrings, and babies. Everyone
That's wild.
Here's the biggest reason why it's going to happen. I got my flu shot last week.
Okay.
I have 3 herniated discs, so they're my back problems. I have terrible hamstrings. I've always had terrible hamstrings. And my wife is due with a baby girl in November. So what you're saying is you are Jalen Ramsey.
Pretty much.
One person.
Unbelievable. I don't know what's going on now. We've just, it's got like, when there was that phase like a few years ago when it was like everything was the Illuminati confirmed meme. It's that, but Jalen Ramsey for the Eagles, and it's just like.
It's the Infante conspiracy.
It is. So
conspiracy is going to happen.
We've got Wildebeest Davenport saying run the ball with Jordan Howard. Guys, if you're new around here, make sure you join the community. All the Jalen Ramsey love /hate/admiration and wishing and worshipping and blessing of flu. You can be part of it. hit that subscribe button. Let's talk about something interesting. There's a man in here who's predicted to score 31-17 Eagles, but his surname is Valdez, and it has reminded me of a point I wanted to make, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. That's my main worry tonight on the Packers offense, purely because we saw what Terry McLaurin did to the Eagles. This is a player that ran a 4.37 40-yard dash. He's averaging over 13 yards per reception. And it's not like this secondary is the most robust thing in the world. It is not the 2019 Truck of the Year for the outside insider listeners out there. Instead, it may as well be a broken down Nissan Micra. So, if you're playing DraftKings, I would say Captain Valdez-Scantling. If you're an Eagles fan, just get him out the game, because you do not want Aaron Rodgers, who's taken 3 seconds to throw the ball this season, to be dropping back on play action and getting it downfield to him. How concerned are you about him, Thomas?
About Marcus Valdez-Scantling? Okay. So just to put things into perspective here.
Go on.
Are the Packers wide receivers better than the Lions?
No, but that's like... it's really weird, because it's not like, oh, well, that's saying, oh, well, therefore, if, then, but. The Eagles shouldn't have been in a position where that game was anywhere near losable, let alone lose. Right? And they still sucked against Kenny. Kenny Golladay was bullying Ronald Darby until he just flew out the game and was like, nope, I'm going home. My mum's collecting.
He was bullying Ronald Darby, who isn't. But what I mean is, in the entire second half, was it that big of a difference though? I mean...
Yeah, but wasn't that because Detroit were trying to not do a Washington and protect the lead?
I mean, they kept passing the ball though.
Yeah, but...
Alright. So what I'm saying, is... Marcus Valdez-Scantling is not really... I mean, sure, he's big, he's fast. I'm not concerned about it. I think guys like Sidney Jones will be all over him. I think Sidney Jones has the agility and the lateral quickness to move with Marcus Valdez all day long, and I do not think that Marcus Valdez is going to win at the catch point against Sidney Jones. The thing that you got to put into consideration with the Packers in terms of Lions is the fact that they got Aaron Rodgers. So he could put it in places where Marcus Valdez-Scantling will be the guy to get the ball. Now, I've not seen Packers dominate with the wide receiving core this year yet. I've seen the Eagles fail miserably with their cornerback play this year. But I just truly believe that Rasul Douglas and Sidney Jones, given that Jim Schwartz plays it smartly with the safeties, I don't think it's going to be a problem.
I hope not.
A lot more safety at the top. Whenever they were going man against the Lions, against the Falcons. And I think it's going to carry over this game.
What about you, Chris? Any concerns from the Packers receiving corps? Or a player in general not named Aaron Rodgers?
I mean, I am starting Devontae Adams tonight in fantasy.
And I mean, you are the guy that, for anyone that is familiar with PhillySportsNetwork.com, Mr. Know Your Eagles Enemy. He goes deep with this, so he knows his team inside out. Chris, in your crystal ball, I mean, you've just said Devontae Adams is started. I mean, is there a player that you're red circling like, oh, God?
I mean, maybe not on the offense. Aaron Jones... he hasn't had a good year this year.
He's not going to do shit.
I know he's not going to do it, but he's dangerous, though. He can... You can't really count on any running back facing the Eagles to do anything until really we face Detroit. I mean, not Detroit. Wow, Dallas. Zeke pretty much tears us up every time. But so I don't really think Aaron Jones is going to do much. But he's really, because I do think that the Eagles' corners, to my demise, I do think they're going to lock down Adams and Valdez-Scantling. I don't think, because the Green Bay offense this year, it's been too simplified, and Aaron Rodgers is very, very angry with that. He wants to be his game changer. He wants to change everything at the line. And Mr. Sean McVay's best friend, Matt LaFleur, he hasn't been doing it for Rodgers. But watch this be the game that Rodgers comes up to the line every time. Like, you know what? No, I'm going to be calling the plays today. I'm tired of having an offense. I'm tired of only having about 500 yards passing. I'm tired of only having 4 touchdowns. I'm Aaron Rodgers.
It's weird, but I think Aaron Rodgers, I would not be surprised if Aaron Rodgers starts slow, though. Do you not think that's always the thing with the Packers offense, where Aaron Rodgers gets increasingly frustrated throughout the game, and then, like, third quarter, he's, I'm doing it myself. and then it goes and it's fine.
Right.
All the Eagles defense have to do is frustrate them. Like, we know the pass rush is having issues. I think that can be, correlated to what we see in the secondary. Right, that's not unfair to say. Like, if they line up 10 yards away and it's first read and the ball's coming out quick, yada, yada, yada. But if they can frustrate Aaron Rodgers enough to where they're leaning on the run and the Eagles can wrap up the run, Zach Brown's been having a hell of a surge recently, the last couple of games. I don't see... I mean, it's doable. I think that if they can just frustrate them enough to make Aaron Rodgers have to heat up in the second half, they have a chance. But they've got to keep the Packers quiet early.
I was about to say, man, if Nigel Bradham pulls another game like he played against the Lions, Aaron Jones is going to have a field day against the Eagles.
Oh, no.
I'm not going to say more than that. I'm just going to say Bradham is the worst linebacker on the Eagles starting core right now.
So that's it, because that brings up another point.
When you talk about the frustrating him and everything like that, wasn't there a stat today that came out, or maybe yesterday? Aaron Rodgers has been under pressure a ton. His offensive line hasn't been doing great, but he's been thriving when he's been under pressure. When he has more time, it doesn't look like he's that great.
It's weird though, because if you look at the pass rushes they faced Danielle Hunter and Everson Griffin, Von Miller and Bradley Chubb, and then who was the other team they faced in? Oh, Chicago, wasn't it? It was Khalil Mack and all of their arsenal of absolute army tanks. So it's not like they're going up against the Detroit Lions, and no offense to the guys they've got like Snack Harrison. It's just more of a comparative that they're some of the premier guys. So maybe that would explain why he's been under pressure so much. But he's only been sacked 7 times against those rushes, which I think speaks volumes, really.
Do you want to know a fun stat, by the way? Just to close this one out, and then I'll shut up about linebackers throughout the entire stream.
Go on.
PFF has Nigel Bradham rated as the worst tackling linebacker of any linebacker in the league that has played snaps this year.
Wow. I mean, can we qualify Ronald Darby as a linebacker at this point, just for the hell of it, so we can throw him on there as well?
All I'm saying is you got one of the best tackling linebackers coming out of the draft, and T.J. Edwards sitting there. I know he's not going to play because Jim Schwartz...
And Alex Singleton.
Hey, yeah, let's not forget that. That type train is not going anywhere.
I know he's on the practice squad, but call him up.
Dude, my favourite play.
Active on game day, man. Come on.
So for those who've been around for a little while, this is the first year that we've had like a super team of Eagles writers. So we've brought these guys together, and it's our first real season attacking this now. My highlight so far was that 4th preseason week where Thomas was so TJ Edwards and I was so Alex Singleton, and the two were like that far from a roster spot, and it was back and forth like the entire time. It was absolutely amazing. But let's get to that stage today then. We've got 15 minutes left till the end of the stream, just under like an hour and a half I think till the game starts. Bold predictions time. Guys, leave your bold predictions in the chat as well. We'll read out some of the best ones and the funniest ones, so get them all loaded into the chat. No excuses, get them in. Brian, you're in the dark over there like an evil emperor. What are you plotting up for a bold prediction?
Can I add in this Aaron Rodgers stat before he goes?
Of course you can, go on.
So his accuracy through 3 weeks against the blitz, he's first in accuracy. On play action, he's second. Under center, he's third. Shotgun, he's 10th. No blitz, he's 10th. No play action, he's 10th. On obvious passing downs, he's 15th.
Your point?
So this might be the day that our no pressure, that if we don't have pressure today, it might be the day that it actually works out for us.
I said that though in an article. I was like, this might be the one day where you want to drop an extra player back into coverage a couple times and start confusing them.
Maybe like that Fletcher Cox play. Was it?
Yeah. It could happen.
Last game where he just came out of nowhere and was like, oh, and then Matt Stafford was like, oh, wow, what is he doing there?
Absolutely, right. Okay, Emperor Cameron at the top right corner, hiding away in darkness. Bold predictions. Hit us with them.
I'm driving and it's like pitch black where I live. So I think...
Maybe because it's nighttime.
Oh, really? That's what it is? Wow, it just blew my mind.
Oh.
So,
Come on, Malcolm.
I think that... Listen, don't make me go over there. I know where you live.
That's true.
Damn it. Forgot what I was... Oh, so I think the defense holds off the Packers offense just long enough for the Eagles to kind of stretch a lead of, say, like 14-3, whatever the case may be. And I think the Eagles end up coming out on top 28-17.
Wow. All right.
28-17 or 20?
28-17. I have that much confidence in what's going to come tonight.
There's so much confidence in this Skype call. This is
so much confidence.
This is the equivalent. This is like big dick energy, but for football fans. Right now, this Skype call, it's like it's radiating. All right, Chris.
This is like the Ultimate Warrior version of energy.
Literally. Come on, right, what are your bold predictions?
Coming into the season, I'm like kind of in Brian's shoes right now, because coming into the season on our podcast, we did our season preview, and I did have the Eagles coming into this game 3-0 in the season preview, and I had them losing to the Packers. Brian had them losing to the Lions in the podcast, and he flip-flopped, so I'm going to flip-flop too. I don't think we have a 100-yard rusher, but I think we total about 120, 130 yards rushing between Howard, Sanders, and Sproles. I think Sproles finally gets into the top 5 of all-purpose yards list today. But I think it's going to be Howard rushing 12 times, 60 yards, and a touchdown. And Wentz is not going to have that great of game. 22 of 30. I put down 22 of 33 for 215.
Wow.
No
You told me to
touchdowns.
start Miles Sanders tonight?
I told you to start Miles Sanders.
Earlier?
I have him 10 rushes, 47 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Okay, I'll take that.
I love how he's literally got the entire game mapped out drive by drive.
Yeah,
Like
I was about to say, like, all right, give me one bold prediction. I'm just going to map out here.
he's like 3rd and 6 from their own 19. It's like-
And Freddie Mitchell's going to come into the game.
We don't talk about Freddie Mitchell, right? With 21-17 win, holding off Aaron Rodgers' Hail Mary at the end of the game.
Wow. Oh, we're going full flipping the birds of vision now. There's a lot of visualizing going on. It was in the podcast yesterday when I think Brian got a case of it as well, and I was so like lost in what he was saying. It was like imagining it. Thomas, bold predictions. What have you got?
I am going to go in a little bit of a different direction here, but I'm staying the offensive side, though. So, Alshon Jeffrey comes back. He's going to be seeing a lot of Jair Alexander. Nelson Aguilar is still here. Aside from what everyone's saying, he's been playing good ball over the past couple of weeks. He's had a few drops. That's what it is. They're going to be very cautious about Alshon Jeffrey and Nelson Aguilar. Mac Hollins is going to go for 100 yards plus in this game.
Oh,
Wow, that's really bold.
Right?
that's literally.
I'm hanging onions here. There's where it goes down. I'm not going to go into like more specifics than that. I'm just going to say Mac Hollins goes for over 100 yards. Really like what I've seen from Mac Hollins in these past 2 games when he's been asked to step up. Missed the entire 2018 season. He's just getting his feet wet under him. He's going to get a lot more confidence. He's running good routes. Hopefully, he's going to get an officiating crew that is not going to call OPI every time he touches cornerback with his arm. I don't know what he said to the referees though in that game against the Lions. That was hideous. I don't want to add a touchdown to it, although that could be nice if I could.
I mean, if you're going that far, you might as well. I mean, there's not.
But then again, like, what if I get the 100 yards and I don't get the touchdown though? Then I'm gonna look bad because then I got to go back at like, oh. Well,
I think we'd give it to you though. I mean, that's a prediction so bold. I'm losing my hairline because of it, like automatically. Like it's just starting. That is a bold prediction. I mean,
that's what happened. I thought you weren't able to grow a beard, and it's just because I'm spitting out all these balls.
Yeah. I'm just like, Thomas, stop! I can't grow facial hair. It's like
LJ and the 3 beards.
Thomas is just there going like Sidney Jones 6 interceptions, and my hair's going like no, stop. Just getting worse and worse. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat then. So we've got a 37-30 Eagles, a score prediction from Guardians of Gold. Howard wants to be paid. He'll run like the second coming of Bolt. I said at the start of the season. We haven't seen him on the field to do it yet, unfortunately. Alex White, at Eagles win 27-17. Howard has 2 touchdowns and over 100 total yards. So some passing game inclusion there. I like that. 37-30 Wentz is going to be big. Dallas Goedert 2 touchdowns. He has the biggest matchup advantage today.
Well, he has to catch the ball for that. Let's go on.
He has to show tonight that the Eagles will be smart to trade Zach Ertz for Jalen Ramsey.
Oh, God.
That's not good. All right, can we just...
Quick, keep it rolling, move.
I am just kidding. Before anyone comes after me, because my wife has already shot me to death stare.
We're not going to come after you. We're going to come
before anybody finds
I think your wife needs you with a nice little roundhouse kick right now.
So Faith Canyon says, here's my bold prediction. Nelly gets 8 targets, 8 catches. I like that. I think that's a good shout. That could happen.
I really do hope he gets a touchdown and he does like a baby celebration.
It'd be cool, wouldn't it? If they pre-plan one.
Just a baby? That would be super cool.
What if he's got like a little like doll just hidden behind the goalpost? He just picks it up and just starts.
Like, if he does like the Joe Horn thing.
Instead
of a phone underneath the pylon, it's a baby.
We've got True Prodigy saying Eagles secondary might not stink and how to have 100 yards. I mean, I love how it's bold for the Eagles to might not suck in the secondary. I would say my bold prediction, my main one, would be that Sidney Jones and Rasul Douglas combine for 5 passes defensed and 2 interceptions.
Ooh.
I think they're going in. So if you think about it, right, this is that Douglas has been in twice before. I always harp on about this, where he's always been the guy to fill in for Ronald Darby when Ronald Darby can't go, which is now way over 50% of the time, right? Douglas and Jones, contracted past this year, Darby and Mills are not. This is the one chance they've got to solidify themselves. And what better time to do it than an offense that is rolling, that's 3-0, that's scoring plenty of points against good defenses, go down, make an impact at Lambeau Field, and get aggressive, get physical, play down in press coverage, and show Jim Schwartz we don't need Jalen Ramsey because it's result season. Chrissy just had that. The leg's not happy, but
I can't stress enough that this whole Jalen Ramsey situation, there's like no middle ground for me. I have built so much into this Jalen Ramsey to the Eagles thing that if he doesn't go to the Eagles, it might devastate me.
Dude, I think I've got to the opinion, I think you must have put like a sizable amount of money on this happening. It's the only explanation for this.
It just makes too much sense. There's a need for cornerback. There's a cornerback who's not happy. He'd rather play with Wentz than with Nick Foles. And
it is a nominal outcome. You got either he's coming or he's not coming. So the middle ground is kind of foggy there, man.
I'm
either gonna be extremely elated because he's an Eagle, or extremely depressed because he's.
That's me every time I talk to a female, mate. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
There's not gonna be like all right, we didn't get him. It's gonna be
Alright, we've got a few minutes left, so what I would love to do, guys, is take some of your questions. If you've not messaged in the chat now, change that, alright? Get involved. Give us your questions you want us to answer before tonight's game. You've got a few minutes left, and we'll fire them up. Chris, have you, or Brian, or any of you guys got any questions that you'd like to position to the rest of us?
Well, go ahead, Brian. Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt. Sorry.
You want to go? You want me to go?
No, you can go.
You sure?
Yeah.
So the bromance between you two, the manners, it's like...
it's really like, are you sure, bro?
I'm sure.
You good with this?
So I have a question for the three of you, right?
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure I might get a little flamed in the chat for this question.
Oh, no.
Are the Eagles a bad team?
No.
Or an unlucky team?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Think about the injuries for the last couple of years. Think about all the crazy injuries we've had the last couple of years.
I would say then, I don't think they're bad. I think they're a product of just a lack of discipline at the minute. It's lackadaisical. If they don't make so many fundamental errors, the potential is there to be an elite team. They should be an elite team. It's sort of like, for those anyone that remotely cares about soccer, Manchester United, they're not a bad team. They just can't get it together because of whatever reason, which is fun to see because I hate them. But not the point.
It's 2 years in a row, though, that they've been struggling out the gate.
Yeah, and I think that you can put down to, it could be Mike Grove needs to go into that. I mean, I think the best comment I saw about that was on a comment on Morgan's article that I brought up post-game with you, Thomas, I think, was that someone said, even dating back to the Andy Reid era, the starters don't practice together, especially on the offensive line. So when you get to week 1 and 2, it is like pre-season for those guys. It takes a few weeks to settle in, and you go through those tumultuous periods, and then it all magically by week 5 or 6 is okay. So if that really is the case, this has to be the game where pre-season is ending, and it is the season opener, and it starts now. But I don't think they're a bad team. What about you, Chris? And I swear, if you just say yes so they can get Jalen Ramsey.
Okay. I'll be serious now, I guess. I mean, I don't think they're a bad.
Did you get the stare from your wife there?
I don't think they're a bad team, but they still need Jalen Ramsey. Anyways, they're definitely not a bad team. It's not like all the stats are there for Carson Wentz. It's just like everybody's said already. It's the starts. It's the slow starts. It's the terrible play calling that's been going on in the first quarter and first quarter plus. It's just questionable. Like, why are you running this down why are you running a sweep to Darren Sproles or a screen pass to Darren Sproles at 31 when you have Jordan Howard on the bench right now who could pound it inside and get that yard? It's just, what the hell is Doug Peterson thinking? And it's, why is Jim Schwartz playing 15 yards off the ball when it's 1st and 10? It's a lot of stuff that I've already called for Schwartz's firing in the podcast. Two podcasts.
Oh no! Oh god! We got.
Yeah, I have called for Corey Unlin to take his spot.
I agree with that sentiment.
I've called for Unlin to take his spot because Unlin has coached up Aqib Talib, Chris Harris Jr. He's been on a defense with Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware. He knows elite defenses, and I've called for the Eagles to call up ESPN and see if Jack Del Rio wants to coach up the linebackers.
I thought you were going to stop at ESP then, and I was like, wow, that's a swift turn of events.
No.
But all right, let's get to the comments from you guys. I know you've got a few questions here. Let's have a look. Will Howie make a big move in the next 2 weeks from Duck Nguyen? It's going to be Ramsey, isn't it? If it's going to happen, it's going to be Ramsey. I say no. I don't think it happens.
I think he does, but I don't think it's Ramsey.
Wait, can I add a quick comment to the to Brian's question about is Eagles a bad football team?
Yes.
Okay, Eagles are such a good team that they can go in week 1 behind 17-3 and still win the game.
Against
They're
Washington.
so good that they can have the quarterback play a terrible first half and still come down to the last drive against Atlanta in the Georgia in the Georgia Dome. They can play so terrible against the Lions. They can fumble 4 times, lose 3 of them, have a kickoff return touchdown, still have 2 chances to win the game within 3 minutes. No, they're not a bad football team. They stay within every game. Yes, they're competitive. Yes, they'll stay in this game with the Packers as well. Eagles are not a bad football team. They just need to execute.
We agree then. They're just unlucky at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So, Howie making a big move, yay or nay? I've gone nay. Brian's gone yay, but not who we think.
Did you guys see the CBS Sports report of some targets the Eagles may look at towards the trade deadline?
No, but I swear if LaShawn McCoy's one of them, I'm jumping out of the window.
One that I actually thought about going into this season because before we got Malik Jackson was Geno Atkins.
Yeah.
I mean, the price tag is high. He's pretty one of the highest, and I'm reluctant just because Malik Jackson's back next year. But that's not a terrible 3-man defensive rotation for a defensive tackle because they rotate. I mean, you lose Hassan Ridgeway probably, but I mean. Okay, not Benny Logan. Wow, for Geno Atkins, I wouldn't mind it, but Jalen Ramsey, you're a bust for me.
All right. So before we get to another question, I mean, Tom Whitehouse is one of our most loyal viewers. He's in every stream, every video, and he was meant to say that our Sega Whiteside drop was bad, but he said Race Gar Whitesides, and I think that should be his new nickname. We've not been able to find a nickname for JJ Arthega Whiteside because of Thega. I think Race Gar Whiteside, we're going to go with it. That is a PSN After Dark nickname for JJ Arthega Whiteside. That's what we're doing now. Tom, this is our honorary to you. Maybe it ends up on a t-shirt one day, who knows. But as a thank you for your support, Race Gar Whitesides is now an official term. A couple more questions that we've got. So Geordie says, is there room for another ride? I know you submitted an application, my man. I'm getting to it. It's been so crazy this last couple of weeks. Give me some time, I'll get back to you, all right? Let's have a look. What role, if any, will Camu play in the Eagles' defense tonight following
He's
his
definitely
period
starting.
of
He's
absence.
100%. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not. I would be very surprised if he's not starting.
He's not
Camu?
starting.
He's not starting.
No, he's not starting. He's gonna get molded in there. He had a quote this week. He's saying he's gonna get on the field a little bit, rotate with some of the linebackers. They're gonna go with linebacker by committee a little bit. Like he's gonna take over some of the snaps that Gary was having, and then he's gonna start next week.
So
Which is a shame for Gary because he's been pretty good.
No, he's not.
he's had flashes. he's had flashes
Outside of your film rooms, Thomas.
outside of the actual veil.
He had one nice interception. I'll say that.
No, there was
He played better
one.
than Bradham. Come on, he played better than Bradham.
There was one play against the Falcons where
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's one.
No, not the one. The one where he's they're in the red zone and he makes a call at the line. That one, brilliant. Like that was god tier play. And then the rest of it, he just looks like 3 seconds behind everyone else mentally. So it's a bit.
Except for Bradham.
Except for Bradham, in which case he's 2.5 behind him. Let's see what other questions we've got. Can we get a couple in? I know we're a minute overdue, so you're getting content on content today. Bryant Williams, do you think that the rookie wide receivers are just nervous, or do they have bad roads on their routes, or is the reason for their dropping passes? I don't know. So the rookie wide receiver, the only one we've got is obviously Arcega-Whiteside, but for the sake of it, we'll quantify anyone that's not a big three, so a Matt Collins or someone as well. Is it just confidence, or is it more fundamental? I mean, I think Arcega-Whiteside was fundamental, especially with that drop pass, late on, where that shouldn't have even been a thing. But anytime you look at drops, it is mental, because it's not a physical trait where it's not like they're not moving their hands. It's just the mental locking onto the ball, I think. So I think it could be confidence. But anything you've seen, Thomas, that would dictate otherwise?
Oh, sorry, I blacked out. What did you say?
So rookie wide receivers or receivers dropping balls, anything more than just a case of confidence or lack of it that's contributing to it?
I mean, Arcega-Whiteside had one pass thrown his way that he dropped. He was not getting worked at all in the game, despite having several openings where he couldn't gotten the ball. I did an article on that this week, trying to calm everybody down a little bit. I saw this narrative coming from guys like Bleeding Green Nation, where you start throwing out some of his production over the past few weeks, saying, "Oh, he played this many snaps and he only has 2 catches." Like, come on, guys! It's a matter of when Carson actually gives him the ball. Like, look at the targets; they're not great. He had one chance, he blew it. I'm disappointed. He should have caught that ball. It was his trademark jump balls. He's supposed to catch that in the end zone. Other than that, I'm not worried. I think Whiteside is going to be fine. Chill. I'm pleasantly surprised about Matt Collins. I'm not concerned about the drops that he's had. They came at a bad time, but I mean, they're not out of the ordinary. And he showed me more good than bad. So I'm confident in Matt Collins and the role that he can take as a wide receiver 4 moving forward from this season. And Nelson Aguilar got to catch the baby, man.
Got to catch a baby. Chris, talking of babies, obviously you've received some very good news. What are your views on wide receivers? Do they need good news? Maybe not the birth of babies, but...
Well, I honestly do not think that JJ has a good game today, because I don't know if you guys saw the picture of the wide receivers pulling up off the plane.
Mm-hmm.
They made him get them Chipotle. Chipotle's not that good.
So it's not the fact they made him get it, it's the fact that it's Chipotle.
It's Chipotle. It's not even that good. So you're really going to...
Stop the nonsense.
Chipotle, no, Moe's and Qdoba.
I wish I could contribute more to this discussion, because I don't have a clue.
Yeah, Chipotle.
What are we doing here?
Exact. Thomas, not a clue.
Right now.
Like, they made him... It's like if they made JJ pick up Wawa instead of Sheets.
See, I'd still... Me and Thomas are like, yeah, totally.
This is way, this is an internal humor.
In the chat, if anybody around there.
The chat will get it. That's all that matters. But on that note, which I know what Wawa is. I've been talked into Wawa, and that's like my number 1 destination. But gents, it is almost game time. We've got around 20 minutes until kickoff at Lambeau Field. Thank you for joining me tonight. Any parting words? Also, before you all go, really quickly, what are your social medias? We'll start with Brian, who's now in a red light and not darkness anymore. So Brian, who's still living in Emperor colours. Malcolm Jenkins, where can the world follow you?
At BCameron PSN or at Flippin' Birds Pod, or just look for Chris's tweets. I'll be right in the comments saying something to counter whatever he's saying. Sorry at the time.
And Chris, where can people follow your work?
So if I said Brian's awesome, you're gonna go in there counter it, saying you're not awesome. That's fine.
No, I'm gonna say
Brian.
Brian Swaston. That's what we're gonna have to.
Yeah. All right. So if you guys want to follow me, just hold on. Let me turn around.
Oh, shit, it's gonna moon everybody.
It's at Infante 54.
He's got his Twitter handle.
Oh, this is why the jersey was on.
He's got the Twitter handle as a jersey.
I mean, to be completely honest, this jersey was a gift because growing up, my basketball number has always been 54. So all my screen names and everything has always been Infante 54. So this just works out that I could just turn around.
Amazing. I love
it. My Twitter handle is Infante 54. So there you go. It's very easy. I like to make it easy for people. Why make things?
I'm mind blown right now.
Thomas, what about? I mean, I'm guessing you don't have, your Twitter handle on the back of your shirt, but where can people follow you?
I don't have the super fancy presentation of my Twitter handle, so I'm just gonna get this over real quick. It's at Thomas RP93. I'm just gonna hide now.
And guys, if you want to follow myself, it's at Liam Jenkins PSN. If you want to follow Philly Sports Network, where I'll be tweeting on both accounts tonight, there'll be GIFs, and obviously when we don't have the right GIF, there is a cat in the box. That's the best bit. Make sure you follow along to all of us for up-to-date Eagles coverage. Boys, thank you so much for tuning into this one. To everyone in the chat, go and enjoy yourself. I hope if you're in England, you've got plenty of coffee. So guys like John Eads, I'm hoping you're stocked up. Anyone in America, have loads of snacks, chill out, enjoy the game. We will be back post-game around an hour after the game finishes, all right? So stick around. The Philly Sports Net.
I'll be sleeping.
Chris will be sleeping, but me and Thomas are sleep-deprived Europeans and probably will be.
We'll be sitting here at 6 a.m. thinking about how you're comfortably sleeping at midnight, and we'll grind through this. Don't you worry.
It might not be comfortably sleeping. It'll be sleeping.
Just PTSD nightmares. But honestly, guys, thank you for tuning in. If you could leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already and join this community, that would be brilliant. If not, we'll see you in a few hours' time where hopefully we're talking about the Eagles, who are now 2-2.
Only soul that has no helper. Oh, maybe I'm just alone. I trust my gut, but I've never let it go so far now.